students of class A. In the last class, we had started with a chapter in civics, that is the organs of the Indian government, okay, wherein we discussed about the first organ of the government. Let me tell you that the government has three main branches or organs, that is, one is legislature, second is executive and judiciary. In the last class, we discussed about legislature. Legislature makes the laws, it is that part of the government that makes the laws. Executive executes the laws and the judiciary interprets the laws. Now in today's class, let us learn about the second branch of the government, that is executive. Now, we also know that the government, okay, is based at two levels, or it functions at two levels. That is at the central level and at the state level. Now at the state level, the executive branch of the government comprises of the governor, the chief minister and the council of ministers. Okay? So at the state level, you have the governor, you have the chief minister and the council of ministers. And at the central level, that is at the union level, the union executive, you have the president, the vice president, the prime minister and the council of ministers. Now we all know that the executive enforces the laws which are made by the legislature. Now the work of this execution, okay, is carried out by the president, the vice president, the prime minister and the council of ministers. So let us learn about all this in today's class. Let us first start with the president. Now the president, okay, is a constitutional head of our country. In our country, he is known as the Rashtrapati, okay, or the head of the country. He is called the first citizen of India, okay. The present Rashtrapati or president is Shri Ram Nath Kovind, and this is Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is the official residence of the president, which is in New Delhi. Now let us see what are the qualifications required to become a president. Firstly, the president must be a citizen of the country, citizen of India. He must be at least 35 years of age, so not less than 35. Thirdly, he must be qualified to become a member of the Lok Sabha. And lastly, the last qualification is he should not hold an office of profit under the government, which means that he should not hold an office or a place of profit that will give him any financial gain or financial profit, and which comes under the government. So these are the qualifications, okay, required to be a president of India. Now let us see about the election. Okay, the president is indirectly elected by an electoral college. Okay, electoral college are the electors that elect a candidate to an office. How is the president elected? The president is elected by the elected members of both houses of the parliament, that is, of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. So president is indirectly elected by us, by people. We elect the members of the Lok Sabha, to the house of the parliament, that is Lok Sabha. Okay, so, and these elected members of the houses of the parliament and the elected members of the legislative assemblies elect the president. And this election is done through the proportional representation. Okay, by the secret ballot system. We had learned about the proportional representation in the previous class. Now let us see about the term of office. The president is elected for a period of 5 years. Okay, the term of office is for 5 years, and the president can be re-elected for another term. Okay, removal of the president. The president can be removed from the seat, okay, from the office, okay, under this following instances. First is expiry of the term, okay, if the term of the president has been expired. Secondly, if the president dies before the term ends, okay, on the death of the president. Thirdly, if the president resigns before the time period, before 5 years. Lastly, impeachment. Okay, what is impeachment? Let me explain to you. Impeachment is a formal process or a procedure, okay, by which a parliament can remove the president if they find that the president has violated any terms of the constitution, or if the president is found to be guilty under corruption, or if the president has not performed his duties well, then he can be removed by the parliament through a process known as impeachment. Now, if a president is removed and the seat is vacant, then the seat will be occupied by the vice president. I also told you in the beginning that the president is also known as the first citizen of the country. Now, let us discuss some of the important powers of the president. Okay. Firstly, the president has the executive powers. That means the president is responsible for appointing a number of ministers, people. The first one is he appoints the prime minister. He appoints the council of ministers with the help of the prime minister. He appoints the Attorney General, Auditor General of India, the governors of all the states, various states, ambassadors, members of the Finance Commission, Chief Election Commissioner, Chief Commissioners of Union Territories, and the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court. Okay? These are the executive powers that the president has. Next, let us see the military powers of the president. Firstly, he is said to be the supreme commander of the defense forces. That means he is the supreme commander, okay, in selecting at all three wings, that is at the army, at the air force and the navy. Okay, all three forces in the defense. Secondly, he has the power to declare war with any country and also conclude peace with the countries. Thirdly, all the important treaties, okay, placed in front of the parliament, okay, has been done in the name of the president. And lastly, he represents India in international conferences, okay, at the international level. Next are the legislative powers of the president. Now, the president summons the parliament. Okay, he can give an order, okay, for anyone to appear before the judiciary. So he summons the parliament. He can also dissolve the Lok Sabha. In the last class, we had learnt about the Lok Sabha, and we know its term is for 5 years. But the president has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha before the term ends. Next, we also learned that no bill can become an act without the president's assent. That means if any bill has to become an act or a law, we need the president's assent. Okay, we have discussed the entire procedure, how the bill becomes an act in the last class. Okay, so a bill becomes an act only with president's assent. It is a legislative power of the president. Next is the president nominates 2 members from the Anglo-Indian community if he feels that this particular community is not represented in the house. Okay, so he has the power to nominate the 2 members of Anglo-Indian community to Lok Sabha. Secondly, he nominates 12 members to Rajya Sabha. And these members which are nominated to Rajya Sabha are nominated for their contribution in the field of science, literature, art, and also social service. Lastly, the president also has the power to issue ordinances. Now, what are ordinances? Ordinances are temporary laws which are made by the president when the parliament is not in session. Okay? The validity of these laws are only for 6 weeks. So a president can issue ordinances. Next, we have the financial powers of the president. The annual budget, that is the budget of the whole year, is presented to the parliament in the name of the president. All the money bills are introduced in the parliament with president's consent. And lastly, contingency fund is at the disposal of the president. Okay. Now the contingency fund is taken care of by the finance department. If the president wants, he has a power to give grants, okay, or aid to any disaster, national disaster, or any calamity faced in the country, or if there is any unplanned expenditure done, he can give grants also advance from the contingency fund of India. Next is the judicial powers of the president. Now the president can also grant pardon or reduce the death sentence of a convicted person. Okay? And this, okay, granting pardon or reducing the sentence, death sentence, that is the decision taken by the president, is independent of the opinion of the other ministers, of the vice president and the prime minister. He also has discretionary powers. Now what is this discretionary powers? Is that suppose if no political party wins a majority in the Lok Sabha, the president has a power to appoint a candidate of his choice to be the prime minister of the country. So he also has the discretionary powers. Next is the emergency powers of the president. Now, our nation sometimes goes through a very critical phase wherein the president, to improve the condition or to see that the condition doesn't go from bad to worse, he can declare something known as national emergency or financial emergency. National emergency is declared when sometimes the country or the nation is threatened by any external power or external country. Financial emergency is declared when the financial stability of the country is threatened. So the president has a power, okay, to declare the national and financial emergency. The president's rule is imposed in the state if the administrative machinery of a state breaks down. Okay, that is during emergency. Let us now learn about the vice president. Okay, the vice president is also indirectly elected by an electoral college. Okay, vice president is elected by the elected members of the two houses, that is the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The qualifications required to become the vice president is the same as the president. Okay, but only thing, the vice president needs to be eligible to become the member of a Rajya Sabha. Okay, and then he must possess all the other qualifications. The term of office for the vice president is also 5 years. He is the present vice president of our country, Shri Venkaiah Naidu. Now let us learn about the functions of the Vice President. What are the powers of the Vice President? The Vice President is the ex officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. Okay? He regulates the debates. That means he presides over the meetings, takes charge of the meetings, regulates the debates and the proceedings that are carried on in the two houses. Third function is that if the president is removed, okay, if the president dies before his term, before 5 years, okay, if he resigns before the term ends, then if the seat is vacant, the Vice President takes charge of the office. So, he is an acting President of India under circumstances of death, resignation or removal of the actual President. So, these are the functions of the Vice President. Now, let us learn about the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is said to be the head of the government. The present Prime Minister is Shri Narendra Modi. Now, how a Prime Minister is appointed? You all know, okay, that every year, every 5 years, we have the general elections of the Lok Sabha. After the elections, okay, the party which wins the majority forms a government, and the leader of this ruling party is appointed as a Prime Minister by the President. So the Prime Minister is appointed by the President, and other ministers are then appointed by the President with the help of the Prime Minister. Coalition government. Now suppose if one party does not win a majority, okay, if there is no majority won by a single party, then 2 or more parties can get together and form the government. This is known as coalition government. The term of office for the Prime Minister is 5 years. Now we have learned about the President, we have learned about the Vice President, Prime Minister, okay. These are the Council of Ministers. We have 3 categories of ministers, Council of Ministers. First one is the Cabinet Ministers, Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers. The Cabinet Ministers are those ministers who are in charge of the very important part of the ministry, okay. They take charge of important ministries like the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Defense. Second is the ministers of the state, okay. These ministers, they take charge of smaller ministries or they work under the cabinet ministers. Thirdly, the deputy ministers. These ministers, they work along the cabinet ministers and the ministers of the state. Let us now learn about the functions of the Prime Minister. Now the Prime Minister forms the Council of Ministers. That means after he has been elected as a Prime Minister of the country, okay, he selects his ministers and forms the group and allots work to all the ministers. Secondly, he also formulates the policies of the government. Thirdly, he is a main spokesman or spokesperson of the government, that means of the ruling party. Fourth, he coordinates the work of the ministry. That means he coordinates the work of the president and the other ministers and keep the president informed of all the decisions that are taken in the government. Lastly, he sees to all the executive functioning of the country. So, the entire administration of the country is carried out by the Prime Minister. So, in today's class, we have learnt about the second branch of the government, that is executive. Okay, and the executive at the central level, we know it comprises of president, the vice president, the prime minister and the council of ministers. Now in the next class, we are going to learn about the third organ of the government, that is judiciary. Thank you.